Hello everyone, and welcome to my YNR Official 24 channel. Sally says that Billy is too focused on getting revenge. Meanwhile, Victor has to deal with Kane and Phyllis because of what happened to Newman. At the Abbott house, Diane talks to Jack about how lucky they're that Matt is on their side now. Jack thinks that is not the strangest thing that happened. He tells Diane that something big is going on, and it is affecting them. Jack also says that the people who were against them are now coming after Victor. He thinks that something big just happened, and it changed everything for them. Jack says that they will not have to give up anything to stop Victor from bothering them. Sally and Billy and their problems, with Victor still an issue. Jack saw fear in Victor, and he was really shaken up in a way that he had never seen before. He quickly got them out of the house because it was a crazy situation. Jack and Diane are both very proud of Kyle for being smart enough to have the NEWMAN'S followed. Diane is feeling a little better now. Her husband is still being very careful. Whatever is bothering the NEWMAN'S is a deal. Jack tells Diane what Billy found out and how likely it is that Kane and Phyllis are going after Newman. Diane never thought that she would be happy for Phyllis. Now she is. The NEWMAN'S are really worried about something, and it is big. Her husband says they still need to be careful. The Jabot company might still be in trouble. He thinks he should talk to Nikki about this. She does not like asking Nikki for help. She will admit that Nikki is probably angry with Victor right now, and will tell them what is really going on. Jack laughs about how fast things were changing. Diane knows that Victor always seems to find a way out of problems. Tonight, she will be able to sleep well. At home, Billy is happy that Victor has fallen. Sally is really worried when she hears this and sees him drinking again. He tells her that he is just having a drink to calm down. Sally wants to know what is going on with him. Billy tries to brush it off, so Sally says they need to have a talk. She is very happy with how Billy has been doing over the few months, but now he is drinking again, and that really scares her. Billy tells Sally that everything is okay and that she should not worry. He says it has just been a tough day for him. Sally is still worried about Billy drinking because she knows how bad it was for him before. Billy drinking again is what is worrying Sally. He told his brother about the conversation he overheard between Phyllis and Kane. This conversation could be good for Jabot. Sally knows that he is jealous of Phyllis and Kane because they were able to turn the tables on Victor. He asks Sally, "Why are you upset?" Sally points out that he just lied to her about this conversation by telling her the opposite of what happened. She says that he cannot pick and choose when to be honest with her. Sally reminds him of how Adam betrayed her. He thinks that comparing him to Adam is crazy. Sally is still talking about Adam and how he betrayed her. He does not like this comparison to Adam. Victor is going down. That makes him happy. Spectra thinks he is too focused on destruction. He says he has wanted this to happen. He did not make it happen. Sally is upset because he never wants to talk about the things. She knows he has tried to control his obsession with Victor going, but it is getting the best of him. He asks Sally not to make this situation worse than it is. They can keep talking about Victor going, but he would rather kiss Sally. Sally knows he is trying to avoid talking about his feelings about Victor going. Before they go to the bedroom, she makes him promise that he will not think about getting payback. He tells her that she will be the thing he thinks about. At the ranch, the NEWMAN'S are trying to figure out what to do. They are making a lot of phone calls. Nikki asks her husband who could be doing this to the NEWMAN'S. He says it is not someone who works for them. He also says that Jack is not smart enough to do something like this. Victor thinks that Phyllis or Kane are doing this to the NEWMAN'S. He knows that Phyllis is really mad at him. He does not want to say why Phyllis is mad at him. Nikki wonders if they need to shut down the company. He says the company is too big for that. He is going to have to negotiate something with Kane and Phyllis. Nikki thinks that everyone has a price that they're willing to pay. As Nikki complains that the situation with the company is all too much, her husband promises her that everything will be sorted out. Nikki is not convinced that her husband can fix the problems with the company. Adam and Victoria explain to Nikki that the ITT department at the company cannot do anything to help. The company is being eaten alive by its problems. Victoria has already started moving the company assets to places. Victoria says that she has never seen anything like the problems that the company is having now. Nikki says that her father already knows how this situation will turn out. Her husband is convinced that what happened to Arabesque will not happen to them because they are a company. He thinks they are too big to be hurt by a problem. Victoria sees that one part of their company has been completely destroyed. Victor says that this has gone on enough and gets up to leave. Nikki is really angry. She thinks all of this could have been avoided. She tells her daughter that Victor would not even accept an offer to save Matt in order to keep the intelligence system, the AI. On the train, Phyllis is daydreaming about Victor handing her the key to Newman Enterprises. She thinks about him telling her that she is the one person who has always been able to challenge him. Phyllis thinks she is really smart and should get all the credit for what she has done. Nikki says that Phyllis is the one who should be carrying on Catherine's legacy. Then Kane shows up with champagne. Phyllis tells him that this is even better than what she had hoped for. They have a drink to celebrate getting everything they want. Phyllis cannot wait to tell Victor about this. She wants to see the look on Victor's face when he realizes that he is not in charge anymore. She wants Victor to know that Newman Enterprises is now hers and she is going to be the one making the decisions. Phyllis really wants to tell her kids about what happened. She says sorry for being so excited. He tells her to go ahead and enjoy the moment. They have finally beaten the problem that was bothering them. Now Phyllis wants to change everything. Victor was very mean to her. Now she has gotten the better of him. Phyllis is looking forward to telling Victor who did this to him. Then she wants to redecorate his office to make it a happy place. He makes a joke that they should keep the picture of Victor on the wall. Then Victor starts calling them on the phone. They think it is an idea to ignore him and turn off their phones so he can wait and worry. When she sees that he is not paying attention, she asks him please do not get upset and sad. He says he is worried about Billy because Billy did not get to do what he wanted to do. Kane tells her that he cares about Billy. She has a hard time feeling bad for Billy because Billy told her so many lies. Billy is not his brother. He can see that Billy is really hurting and he wants to help Billy. He wants to help Billy because Billy is hurting a lot. She is sure that this will not end well and it will come back to haunt him. Kane assures her that she has nothing to worry about. She is worried because she does not know what is going on. He reminds her that they can still have a time even when they do not know everything. They touch each other. She wonders if it is too late for them to go and tease Victor about winning. He suggests that she take a shower and then they can go to Victor's place. He calls Billy, asks him to meet them in the morning. Once Phyllis is dressed, Victor shows up. My goodness, he says, unsurprised to see them together. He asks what it will take to end the madness. Billy Abbott to face the destructive preoccupation that has consumed him for far too long, because as Billy spirals deeper into his vendetta-driven mindset, induced that vengeance is the only thing keeping him upright, Sally refuses to play the part of silent supporter any longer, calling him out for mistaking purpose with pain and ambition with tone, destruction, and in a moment that crackles with raw emotion. She tells him that his obsession on vengeance against Victor, against Adam, against anyone he deems responsible for his losses has hollowed him out, turning the man she formerly believed in into someone fueled entirely by wrathfulness, and Billy, caught off guard by her clarity, switches out defensively at first, averring that revenge is justice and that taking down those who wronged him is the only way to reclaim his power. But Sally doesn't back down, reminding him that every time he chooses vengeance, he loses another piece of himself, another chance at happiness, and another person who cares about him, and the weight of her words hangs heavy in the air as Billy is forced, maybe for the first time, to defy the possibility that his campaign isn't making him stronger, but sluggishly destroying him from the inside out. While across city, the fallout from Newman Enterprises' shocking collapse sends seismic swells through Genoa City's nobility, climaxing in an explosive face-off as Victor Newman, the formerly untouchable Goliath of assiduity, comes face to face with Kane Ashby and Phyllis Summers, two redoubtable adversaries who are no longer happy to tail in the murk, but are ready to demand answers, responsibility, and blood. Directly speaking, because Newman's downfall isn't just a business failure, it's particular, and Kane, who has long carried the scars of being undervalued and sidelined by Victor, sees this moment as long overdue justice, defying Victor with a calm, icy resoluteness that makes his Allegations indeed more cutting, pointing out that Victor's arrogance, his turn down to acclimatize, and his preoccupation with control created the perfect storm that eventually brought the conglomerate down, while Phyllis, no way one to miss an occasion to strike when the iron is hot, piles on with her own brand of ruthless verity, criminating Victor of playing chess with people's lives and eventually losing because he believed the board belonged to him alone, and Victor, though visibly shaken, refuses to deteriorate fluently, firing back with defiance, averring that Newman Enterprises isn't finished and that this reversal is simply a temporary defeat in a much longer war. But the cracks in his armor are inarguable as Kane presses harder, revealing that he knows further about the internal backstabbings and fiscal manipulations than Victor realizes, intimating that the collapse wasn't just bad luck or external pressure, but the result of secrets Victor allowed were buried ever. And as Phyllis watches the great Victor Newman struggle to maintain control of the narrative, her satisfaction is palpable, yet beneath her boo lies a deeper computation, because she knows that a wounded Victor is still dangerous, and this battle is as important about testing his limits as it's about savoring his discomfort, while the ripple goods of these competitions spread fleetly through Genoa City, with whispers of power shifts and opportunistic moves circulating among the residers, as Nick and Victoria grapple with the counteraccusations of their father's faltering grip on Newman, torn between fidelity and the consummation that Victor's reign may eventually be nearing its end, and Adam, ever the stranger, watches the chaos with a blend of exculpation and heedfulness, knowing that when conglomerates fall, the debris can crush anyone standing too near, and back with Billy and Sally. The emotional stakes escalate as Billy is left alone with the echo of Sally's words, replaying her allegations in his mind, and for formerly, he see and dismiss them as fear or weakness, because deep down, he knows she's right, that his life has come a series of arch-conservative strikes rather than purposeful choices, and the pain of that consummation is nearly too important to bear, leading him to defy the creepy verity that vengeance has come his identity, leaving no room for love, creativity, or growth. And as Sally walks down, refusing to enable his destruction, her strength marks a turning point not just for Billy but for herself, motioning that she's done immolating her own future to save someone who refuses to save himself, while at the Newman estate, Victor's battle with Kane and Phyllis reaches its boiling point as allegations turn into pitfalls, and the possibility of legal consequences looms large, forcing Victor to consider moves he no way allowed he'd have to make, including cutting deals, exposing former betters, or indeed immolating family interests to survive. And the sight of Victor Newman cornered is both shocking and stirring, because it represents a abecedarian shift in the power dynamics of Genoa City, where fear of Victor has long mandated jest. But now, inspired by his vulnerability, adversaries and rivals likewise begin to circle, seeing blood in the water, and yet, indeed in this moment of apparent defeat, Victor's eyes burn with determination, intimating that he's formally conniving his comeback, because if there's one thing history has proven, it's that Victor Newman no way stays down for long. But whether this time will be different remains the creepy question, especially as Kane and Phyllis leave him with a final warning that the rules have changed and that the days of unbounded dominance are over. And as these resemblant stories collide thematically, Billy's particular reckoning with vengeance and Victor's public reckoning with power, the occasion underscores important communication about the cost of preoccupation, control, and pride, showing how adhering too tightly to one's battles can bedazzle indeed the strongest individualities to the unborn slipping through their fritters, setting the stage for dramatic metamorphoses that could review connections, reshape alliances, and permanently alter the geography of Genoa City, because in this indelible chapter of the young and the restless, no bone emerges unchanged, and as the dust begins to settle, one thing is crystal clear, the period of business as usual is over, and the consequences of long, ignored trueness are eventually coming due, promising indeed more explosive drama in the days ahead. As the shockwaves from these competitions continue to resonate through Genoa City, the emotional and strategic fallout deepens, pulling indeed the most guarded players into the storm, because Sally's decision to defy Billy doesn't just expose his preoccupation with vengeance, it ignites a broader discussion about responsibility, growth, and the price of refusing to let go, and in the fate of her blistering verity. Billy finds himself wandering through familiar spaces that suddenly feel foreign. Visited by recollections of who he used to be before grievances came his guiding compass, before every plan was shaped by how it might hurt Victor Newman or strike the power structures he despises, and the silence girding him is louder than any argument, forcing him to defy the uncomfortable consummation that his pursuit of revenge has bring him not only love but credibility, trust, and respect, while Sally, though outwardly bent, grapples intimately with the pang of walking down from someone she still cares about, knowing that enabling Billy's destructive path would eventually destroy them both, and her choice marks a defining elaboration for her character, signaling that she's no longer willing to be contributory damage in someone differently's war. Indeed, as whispers circulate that Sally's clarity and strength could place her as a rising force in Genoa City's ever-shifting social scale, someone who understands ambition but refuses to immolate her soul for it, and as Billy's internal struggle intensifies, his relations with others take on a sharper edge, with Jack seeing the change and growing decreasingly concerned that Billy is teetering on the point of another disastrous curl, especially as the collapse of Newman Enterprises creates tempting openings for Billy to strike while Victor is weakened, reigniting the dangerous temptation to equate vengeance with applicability, while contemporaneously, the Newman implosion triggers a domino effect across the business world, exposing vulnerabilities that had been precisely concealed behind Victor's iron will and ruthless character, and Kane Ashby, inspired by Victor's rare moment of weakness, begins to maneuver further aggressively, using bigwig knowledge and old grievances to position himself as a crucial power broker in Thepos Newman geography. No longer happy to be seen as a secondary player but determined to claim a heritage defined by independence rather than response, and Phyllis Summers, ever the strategist cloaked in chaos, thrives in this terrain, her sharp instincts telling her that moments like this are transitory and must be exploited completely, as she balances her public taunts of Victor with private computations about which alliances will serve her stylish when the dust eventually settles, knowing that Victor's downfall could either be her topmost triumph or her most dangerous adventure, because a cornered Victor is able of scorched earth retribution, and indeed, Victor's response to the mounting pressure reveals a man torn between fury and fear, his pride wounded by the audacity of Kane and Phyllis daring to challenge him openly, yet his mind remains relentlessly strategic, formerly listing who betrayed him, who dithered, and who might still be useful, and in quiet moments at the estate, Victor confronts the unsettling reality that his topmost armament, absolute control, may have eventually failed him, forcing him to reckon with whether his turn down to trust anyone completely has sown the seeds of his conglomerate's collapse. Indeed, as he intimately projects confidence and ineluctability, assuring his family that Newman Enterprises will rise again, though his children are far from convinced, with Victoria questioning whether Isla's fidelity to Victor's styles has held the company back rather than propelled it forward. Nick wrestling with his instinct to cover his father while fating that Victor's miscalculations have real consequences for innocent people, and Adam, ever perceptive, fating that this chaos could eventually be his chance to review his part within the Newman dynasty, not as a pawn or goat, but as a decisive force in shaping its future, and as these domestic pressures poach, Genoa City's social circles buzz with enterprise, each rumored scuttlebutt amplifying the sense that a seismic shift is underway, because Victor Newman's vulnerability has inspired rivals, and unsettled abetas likewise, creating an unpredictable terrain where commitment are fluid and every discussion carries retired dockets, and in the midst of this bouleversement, Billy's particular extremity glasses the broader thematic collapse of unbounded preoccupation, as he oscillates between moments of painful tone, mindfulness, and reckless impulses, floundering to attune Sally's words with his own deeply hardwired belief that without a fight, without an adversary, he's nothing, and this internal battle reaches a critical point when Billy is presented with a golden occasion to exploit Newman's weakness, forcing him to choose between doubling down on vengeance or stepping back from the point to rediscover a sense of purpose untainted by abomination, while Sally, watching from a distance, hopes that her intervention planted a seed of change. Indeed, as she brands herself for the possibility that Billy may no way choose growth over revenge, and as the stories intertwine, the narrative underscores how power, when applied without reflection,